This is a special presentation of EA Sports from the Coliseum in Oakland. Our tribute to the coach, the John Madden Legacy Game. I'm Brandon Gaudin here to take you through the proceedings. And coming up, we're going to tell the story of a man who was truly larger than life and whose impact on the sport of football, certainly it's going to live on for decades and decades to come. Now, we've assembled a couple of rosters featuring some of Coach's favorite players from both yesterday and today. And Coach himself will be on the sidelines for both squads, trying to motivate his guys to victory. And I'm joined now by my good friend Charles Davis. CD, your thoughts on John Madden and what he meant to the sport he loves so much?
For me, Brandon, it's the word joy. He brought that to the game of football and brought the game to so many people. He stayed involved his entire life. And moving forward, when you think of football, you're always going to think John Madden.
One time for old times. What do you say we play some football as we are underway from Oakland in the John Madden Legacy Game? And able to take it past the 25 and up to the 28-yard line. So it's the NFC stars who will get the ball first. And Charles, as we alluded to, we've got a different era of coach on each sideline. So the man coaching this NFC squad, we'll call him Young John Madden. This is a coach who was trying to establish a foothold in the NFL and on the cusp of doing it very successfully.
Yeah, you think back to that period, those early days as the coach of the Raiders, the late 60s in the AFL and then in the NFL in the early 70s. Coach was a guy who was ahead of his time. The Raiders were one of the first teams to have mini camps, one of the first to film practice, because he wanted to practice coaching as much as he could. And his teams, they were successful right from the start of his head coaching tenure.
They'll throw on first down with Favre. Oh, he's going to take a shot right away. And that's caught inside the 30. Touchdown! Randy Moss, 72 yards. And the NFC strikes quickly for 6. Well, one word for that opening play call, and that is aggressive, but it worked. First play from scrimmage, long touchdown pass.
Well, let's be honest about it. In our production meeting last night, we talked about when would the secondary get tested. I did not say they'd get tested on play number 1. I knew as the game went along, they would take their shots. But that, as you said, a bold strike and very successful right out of the gate.
Extra point by Anderson, up and good. And it's now a 7-0 game. They certainly made quick work of that, ultra-quick work. One of the fastest drives you'll ever see, just one play resulting in the touchdown. Following the touchdown, here's Anderson to kick it away. And they will not get a chance to return this one as it's through the end zone for a touchback. So, Charles, as mentioned, we've got another Coach Madden over here on the AFC sideline. Of course, his Raiders, members of the AFC West. So this is a conference he battled in for his entire career. And you think about the landscape of the NFL as he was getting into the back half of his tenure. It was a golden era for coaches. You had Don Shula, Tom Landry, Chuck Noll, Bud Grant. But it was John Madden who had the best winning percentage of them all, CD. 759, the best ever.
Brandon, it's hard to believe he could be so successful in a conference with all those great teams. The Steelers won 4 Super Bowls. The Dolphins won 2 and were a mainstay in the playoffs. The Colts were tough. The Broncos came on late and went to a Super Bowl themselves. But against Hall of Fame coaches, John Madden's record, 36, 16, and 2. That's pretty incredible. His Raiders were a factor each and every year.
They'll run it with the 85 MVP, Marcus Allen. And he is met in his tracks behind the line of scrimmage. So as we mentioned at the top, well, let's take you through the life of John Madden. And, you know, it's very fitting that we're here back in the Bay Area, not just because John's so associated with Raider football, but also because this was where he spent his formative years.
Yeah, he grew up over Daly City with his buddy John Robinson, who will also become an NFL head coach. He played his high school ball at Jefferson High, eventually wound up playing tackle with the University University of Oregon and later Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Played well enough that in 1958, he was a 21st round draft pick of the Philadelphia Eagles. That's right, the draft had 30 rounds then.
The NFC offense coming out here, and you know, Charles, Coach Madden always said that if he had one drive to win a game and he had to pick a quarterback, he would pick Kenny Stabler. But I think if you asked him to omit any of his Raiders players, there's a good chance the guy he'd select will be Brett Favre.
Brett Favre is always smiling. He's always laughing. He's always talking to someone. He remembers that it's a game. And if it's a game, you should have fun.
And Brandon, that always reminds me of a great movie line where one of the players was telling a coach, every time I say it's a game, you say it's a business. And every time I say it's a business, you say it's a game. With Coach, it was always a game.
They take a shot downfield there, but it winds up falling incomplete. Ball on the 30 as they come up 2nd and 10. Here's Favre to throw. That's down the field to Moss, complete. And they're going to have this across midfield and inside the 45. Charles, you mentioned Coach was a 21st round draft pick back in 1958. It was the Philadelphia Eagles who selected him. But unfortunately for John, knee problems, they just continued to dog him. He was hurt. Got a man, it's caught inside the 10. And touchdown! Cooper Kupp, 44 yards, as his guys are able to extend their lead. Well, this has been a flawless start for them. They score, they get the stop, and they score again, Charles.
Complimentary football at its finest. You just mentioned how they got it done. They scored. The defense got the ball back for them. They score again. That's the way you win ball games.
Now to try to add the extra point, the lefty Anderson. And it's good, and they have jumped out here to a quick 14-0 first quarter lead. Scoring summary, 3-play drive. And it ends with Cooper Kupp on the receiving end of the touchdown pass. Following the touchdown, here's Anderson to kick it away. And that'll carry over the back line of the end zone for a touchback. Now the AFC making their way out, and it's one of Coach's favorites, another local guy, Tom Brady, who will be at the controls. And boy, Coach always admired the way number 12 could run an offense, and especially his ability to stay calm under pressure.
Tom Brady is a guy who's always looking downfield. He never looks at the rush. He hangs in the pocket, and he makes a throw. He's a cool guy. He's a tough guy. Let me tell you, there's no one calmer in the pocket than Tom Brady.
And I know that Coach has a great appreciation for Tom Brady, who turned 45 back on August 3rd, because Coach coached a guy like him in George Blanda, who played a long time in the NFL. In this game, it features legends and active players. Tom Brady qualifies as both.
The last play got just a yard. Here's 2nd and 9 from the 26. To throw is Brady. Oh, he tries to force it in, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Deion Sanders. And his guys are going to take over at the 34-yard line. So 4 problems here in this first quarter. Already 2 scores down, and here they give away the football.
And if I'm the head coach, I think it's time to start lighting a fire under some of these guys. Now, you have to do it within your personality. They can't perceive it as fake. But I'd go get after some guys because they don't look ready to play to me. They look flat, uninspired. It's time to get moving.
The NFC heading back out. Hall of Famer Randy Moss, a part of this offense. And Coach Madden, boy, he always appreciated the ferociousness with which number 84 attacked the football in the air.
As Randy Moss says, just chunk it up there, dog, and I'll go get it.
And, Coach, boy, did he ever go get it. Over 15,000 receiving yards, 156 touchdowns. And how about this? From his rookie year of 1998 until 2009, those were his prime seasons, right? He led the league in touchdowns 5 times, but even more so, he showed us all how to go up and get it. Great body control. No one's ever done.
And that's going to be caught. Touchdown NFC. Cooper Kupp. 2 catches, 2 touchdowns here so far, as his guys are able to push that lead out a bit further. Boy, still in the first quarter, and look out. I mean, they are on pace for over 80 points in this game. I don't know that they'll get there, CD, but this has been impressive to watch so far.
That certainly would be history in the making, wouldn't it, partner? I'm glad we're here to actually watch and see if it actually happens, although, like you, I have my doubts, but they are firmly in control of this game.
Extra point by Anderson, up and good. And that makes the score 21-0. Those are the kind of drives they like on offense, from the coordinator to the quarterback, the line, everybody. One play drive and into the end zone for 6. So how about this for a start? 21-0 here in the first as they kick this one away. And this will be a touchback as that sails over the end line. Well, the AFC offense heading back out. You know, Charles, Coach really loved to utilize his tight ends in the passing game. You think about Dave Casper, Hall of Famer for those great Raider teams. And I think he saw a lot of Dave Casper in an all-Madden staple, Tony Gonzalez.
Tony Gonzalez is the type of tight end I think everyone's looking for. He's a guy that can make some big plays from that tight end position. Let me tell you, you better make sure you have him accounted for on every play.
And that's exactly right, because Dave Casper, he could shred defenses down the middle of the field. And that's exactly what Tony Gonzalez did in his entire career. A 14-time Pro Bowl selection. Only Tom Brady has more. There's 6 guys in the 15,000-yard receiving club. He's the only tight end in there. Tony Gonzalez, every snap he had to know where he was because he can make plays short, medium, and long, and often put the ball in the end zone.
First carry for the Hall of Famer. It's the boss, Jerome Bettis. A gain of 5, good enough for the first down. 1 quarter in the books at the Coliseum. What a day. The NFC Stars with the early lead in the John Madden Legacy game on EA Sports. The AFC with the football here to begin the second quarter, as they've got it with a 1st and 10. Now Brady. And he fires one that's intercepted. Deion Sanders, the Hall of Famer, with a pick. And they take possession 2 yards away from midfield at the 48-yard line.
Well, it certainly feels like this defensive group has figured this guy out to the tune of a big lead in this one. And you know that he's frustrated with how this game has gone. And now with back-to-back interceptions, he's got to find a way to get out of his own head and start making better plays.
And he'll go out of bounds right around the 40. Well, Charles, you know, it was in the early 1960s that a young John Madden made the acquaintance of the owner of the Oakland Raiders, one Al Davis, of course. And the two, they really bonded, would become one of the best owner-coach duos in NFL history. And that's going to be caught. Touchdown NFC. Jerry Rice, 40 yards, as his guys have opened up a very comfortable lead. Well, you talk about a team coming into an opposing stadium and just taking the life right out of a crowd. That's what we're witnessing here. 27-0, Charles.
And this defense, they've just looked completely unprepared for what's been thrown at them. And you know they're supposed to adjust series to series. That has not happened for them, so I don't think halftime adjustments are going to help a heck of a lot. They are in major trouble unless they figure out something really fast.
Extra point by Anderson, up and good. And the route is on here in this first half. Pretty clean and simple there. Just 2 plays. The long pass resulting in the touchdown on play number 2. Following the touchdown, here's Anderson to kick it away. Fielded just outside the goal line. And he's only going to make it to the 13-yard line and no further. The offense for the AFC set to go now. Still in the first half, but this offense has struggled. Haven't really been able to get anything going, not only in the points category, but in the yards category. Let's see if they can do better here on this drive. The run only got a yard. Here's 2nd and 9. Now a first carry for their fullback. And he goes across the 20 to the 22. And I see an extra defensive back on the field. Little surprise here on 3rd and 1. They'll try and pound it with a big back Bettis. And he gets the first down here as he's taken down at the 24. 2 minutes remain here in the first half of the John Madden Legacy game. We'll be back. They only get 2 there, but on 3rd and 1, that's all they needed to keep the drive alive. Now they'll throw with Brady. Oh, the NFC pressure a little too much as they get home for the sack. The pressure from multiple guys there as they bury him for a big 9-yard loss. Now the NFC going to call the first of their 3 timeouts as they'll talk things over prior to this upcoming 2nd down play. Under pressure, they got him again. Dropped for a loss of 7 by multiple defenders. Need something from deep in the bag of tricks here after 1st and 2nd down went backwards. It's 3rd and very long. Now a carry for Allen. No gain on the play there. A nice job defensively. And it likely forces a punt situation on 4th. Here's Ray Guy now as he'll punt it away for the 2nd time. 46 on his first kick. This one in that neighborhood as well. On the return, Hester. And he'll cross over out of bounds right at the 25. 34 yards on the return. But for a moment, looked like he had a shot to go all the way. And the NFC is going to have a short field as they take over 1st and 10. And a big loss here as he's taken down. Now the NFC going to use their 3rd and final timeout as the clock stops here with 46 seconds remaining in the first half. To throw is Favre. He'll rifle this one deep right side. Touchdown! Calvin Johnson, 42 yards. And the NFC just continuing to pour it on.
That story that they just gave up there, that's a tough one for their defense to swallow because they've had a tough time through the first 2 quarters. They really were determined to get a stop there. Unable to do so, that makes their comeback hopes that much more difficult.
Anderson on for the extra point. And he's been a busy man, 5 for 5 now as he knocks another one through to extend the lead. The long touchdown pass gets him 6 on a very, very tidy 2-play drive that time. Following the touchdown, here's Anderson to kick it away. Taken at the goal line. And he's only going to make it to the 13-yard line and no further. The AFC offense set to take their next drive. Things for them, just to put it bluntly, man, it has been tough sledding here in the first half, facing that big deficit. The clock is dwindling now. Maybe if they can get something on the board here before intermission, they'll have at least a little momentum heading into the second half. Michael Strahan. That is now 2 sacks for him here in this first half. They don't want to repeat a first down. They'll keep it on the ground. And he still has yet to get on track. So we're at halftime of the John Madden Legacy game. And now we present a special tribute to the man of the hour, narrated by the Raiders' own Trey Mosley.
What comes to mind when you hear the name Madden? Is it the coach who led the Raiders to their first Super Bowl victory? Perhaps it's the broadcaster who entertained millions of fans. Or maybe it's the video game known simply by his name. But no matter what comes to mind when you hear the name Madden, everyone thinks of one thing: football.
the core of it was football. It's the greatest game in the world. The left goes to the right goes to the left.
Madden is on the field. He wants to know if it's real. John Madden goes on the shoulders of his players.
In my mind, John Madden is the most important figure in the history of professional football. Show me somebody else who did it on 3 levels the way John did it. There's nobody.
Boy, Charles, yeah, that is really well done. Coach was something else, wasn't he?
I'm reminded what Al Davis said when he was inducting coach of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Brandon. He loved the game. He loved his team. He loved the Raiders. He loved this league. And you can see it with everything he does.
No doubt. But it's quite possible, though, that now he would say, hey, enough of that. Let's play some football. The second half forthcoming from Oakland. And deep in his own territory, he coughs up the football. And it looks like the NFC's going to have it, and they do. So they take the deficit into the lockers. You know they had plans to receive the football. A nice drive, instead a fumble on the kickoff.
And that can be demoralizing right there because, as you pointed out, they had
touchdown! Randy Moss, his second touchdown of the afternoon. And the NFC stretching that lead out even a bit further. Boy, another score. This lead gets even bigger. And, Charles, we haven't even hit the fourth quarter yet.
Well, forget the deficit, right? They're really not going to cut into that a heck of a lot. But how can they get out of here with some dignity? Can they get a stop or two? Can they make a play on offense themselves? Anything to start to feel better about what's happened to them here in this one.
Extra point by Anderson, up and good. And it is 42-0. Well, they got the ball in great field position. One play later, boom, end zone. Following the touchdown, here's Anderson to kick it away. Fielded just outside the goal line. And taken down just past the 20 at about the 21-yard line. The offense for the AFC set to go now. Well, we're still in the third quarter, so there's some time to kind of clean this up and make it look more respectable. Now, a win, that's probably gone out the window, Charles, but I don't know. Do you look at this as a time to just improve and maybe start to look towards the future?
I think you have to find something to play for, something to grasp onto until the clock runs out. But, Brandon, we've been around this game a long time. This is an outlier. You don't get many blowouts like this no matter how the game looks on paper going in. This one has turned out to be everyone.
And Brady going to be intercepted a third time. And this one will be brought back to the 22. And right about now, you start to think, and maybe they're starting to think, gosh, maybe points aren't going to happen for us in this game.
Well, it's a thought that is worth having because so far in this game, this defense has not just had the upper hand. They've appeared to be a step ahead, maybe even 2 steps, to everything they've done. They've had an answer for everything this offense has thrown at them.
Let's go now.
On first down, Favre. Touchdown! Cooper Kupp, a 22-yard touchdown grab. And the NFC, they take advantage of the interception. They turn it into 6 points. Familiar refrain, a turnover leads to a touchdown, and that lead grows even wider now here in this third quarter.
Yeah, partner, I'd say there are a lot of grins breaking out on that sideline because, let's face it, they came in thinking they were in for a real fight in this game, but this one's been about as one-sided as we've seen in a while. In addition, if you're a backup, time to start stretching and loosening up. You may get some playing time in this one.
Extra point by Anderson, up and good. And the lead grows even larger here in the third quarter. a touchdown. Here's Anderson to kick it away. Taking it about the 1. And he will make it back to the 15, and that's it. Good coverage there by the kick team.
In this position, trying to get back into the game, teams are looking for a spark from their special teams. That's not what they got, though. They got a setback, and they have a long field to cover if they want to try and put points on the board.
Meanwhile, Brady's throw into the hands of Gonzalez here. So now, Charles, to pick up the story we've been telling, John Madden at 42. He just completed a 10-year stint as the coach of the Raiders. He wants to step away a bit from the grind of coaching, but he doesn't want to step away from the game of football. So he ends up signing on with CBS in 1979 to try his hand at broadcasting. And much like his coaching career, it was pretty much an instant success.
Partner, he really connected with the people right from the start, and people may not remember, he wasn't even on the #1 team in the beginning. He worked his way up. But the same things that made him a great coach made him a great broadcaster. The ability to show the...
And now a fumble. Brady loses the football. Dangerous spot for them to cough it up. Lucky to have recovered because had the defense gotten it, they were already within a shadow of the goalpost.
Yeah, and then you're yelling at your own defense. Sudden change, sudden change. That's not what you want to hear on your sideline. That means you got to run out there and try and stop an offense who has the ball in a very advantageous position.
Touchdown! 63 yards on a punt return score. And the NFC just continuing to pour it on.
Well, it certainly feels like that kind of game, doesn't it? No matter what they do, it's going to work. That might be the absolute crusher right there. A punt return for a touchdown.
Feels like there's been a lot of crushers in this game. This lead just gets bigger. Now to try to add the extra point, the lefty Anderson. And the lead grows even larger here in the third quarter. It's no secret. That's why they haven't returned punts. He has the capability to take them back, and he did so there. So after surrendering the punt return for a score, let's see what they can do in turn on this kickoff. This taken in at the goal line. And he's only going to make it to the 13-yard line and no further.
In this position, trying to get back into the game, teams are looking for a spark from their special teams. That's not what they got, though. They got a setback, and they have a long field to cover if they want to try and put points on the board.
The AFC offense set to take their next drive. The disparity in this game, it just seems to grow with each possession here, Charles. They are really struggling. They have not put up a single point, and on the other side, the points keep piling up and up and up.
So you know the frustration level has to be rising, right? So they've got to find a way to quell that, because otherwise they certainly won't get anything done in this one. Keep diving deeper into the offensive playbook. The bottom line is don't quit competing.
Throwing is Brady on third down. And he is going to be taken down. And that should be the final play of this third quarter. Lawrence Taylor picks up his second sack of the afternoon. Now a timeout called for by the defense. And as the two teams talk it over on their respective sidelines, we take a break. Here's Ray Guy now as the drive goes backwards, so he's on to punt it away. Averaging over 50 yards a punt so far as this one's away. So through 3 quarters of the John Madden legacy game, it's the NFC Stars and young Coach Madden on top. We'll be back to the Coliseum after this. Back now here on EA Sports. And this is a blowout so far as we get set for the fourth quarter. A very one-sided affair. The offense for the NFC ready to get their next drive started. Well, they don't really need the points here, Charles, given what we're looking at on the scoreboard. But They've scored on 3 consecutive possessions, 3 consecutive drives, and I'm sure that they would like to keep that streak going here and continue to pull it on.
And things have gotten that way in the NFL, haven't they, partner? Because in the old days, people would, they'd get off the gas a little bit, right? But now, people continue to accelerate, but we'll see what they decide to do as they come out for this one. But the way this game has gone, they've got to be awfully happy with their execution overall.
Anderson on for the extra point. Now this one was over a while ago as they just add on to their big lead. Well, the offense wasn't out there for a long time, but they were out there for a good time. One play, and they're able to hit pay dirt. Following the touchdown, here's Anderson to kick it away. And this will not be returnable. It's out of the back of the end zone for a touchback. The offense for the AFC set to go now. Well, it's been a struggle so far for this offense, Charles. It's not only that they haven't been able to put the points up, but really stringing yards together has been a real issue for them in this one.
I'm so glad you brought up the yardage because I was thinking to myself, we've seen a lot of NFL games and we've seen our share of lopsided contests, but in almost all of them, both offenses have put up at least 200 yards in a game, but not in this one. This has been a display of offense that, frankly, I think the two of us have watched from behind our hands, trying to spread our fingers wide enough to actually see the result.
He finds his man, complete. That's Gonzalez. So for Coach Madden, Charles, by 1981, his broadcasting career is really taking off. He's elevated to the network's #1 booth that calls all the big matchups. And he gets the plum assignment of calling Super Bowl 16, 49ers and Bengals, and he's teamed up with Pat Summerall. And that pairing ultimately would go on to be one of the most influential in sports broadcasting history.
Influential not just in us listening to them. Remember, they went on and called 8 Super Bowls together. But how they put together kind of the template that all of us broadcasters follow now. Sitting down with the head coaches and the quarterbacks and the stars of each team before a ball game to get extra information. And the way that those two paired together, Pat Summerall, short, concise, to the point, and turned it over to Coach Madden to fill in all the big details.
So the AFC with the football as we welcome you back. They face a 3rd down now as they try to find a late score. They keep it on the ground. Allen again. And he's got to be frustrated. Bottled up for the 3rd straight play. And quickly we're going to get another stop here with 1:54 left as they call the timeout defensively. Here's Ray Guy now. He's been one of their few bright spots so far. And he deserves a bronze leg as he gets this one away. Here's Hester. It'll be 37 yards there on the punt. And the NFC will take over 1st and 10. Ready to begin their next drive here, the NFC offense. They've got to be feeling very comfortable and confident here with this lead in the football here in the 4th. He's got a man, complete. And they're going to get this down to about the 37.
Even with the big lead here in the 4th, it still bombs away. And frankly, it's working. Why should they stop? Go ahead and keep firing away and gaining those yards.
And time finally runs out. He can't get rid of the football, and he's taken down. Now the NFC going to use their 3rd and final timeout. It'll be their 3rd and final timeout, so as they talk things over, we'll step aside. So now 20 yards to go on 2nd down after the sack. Work to be done. That one looks like he'll throw here. This is caught inside the 15. And he will get into the end zone. It's another touchdown. This thing is ugly. But not much defensive resistance on that drive. And really, Charles, the way this offense has been humming, they haven't faced much defensive resistance the entire game.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that one team, their defense did not wake up and make it to the stadium for this one. There may be some major changes on that side of the ball when we see them the next time out.
Now to try to add the extra point, the lefty Anderson. Now this one was over a while ago as they just add on to their big lead. So they only needed 3 plays on that drive. And it ends with Cooper Kupp on the receiving end of the touchdown pass. Following the touchdown, here's Anderson to kick it away. And they will not get a chance to return this one as it's through the end zone for a touchback. The AFC offense set to take their next drive. Where we stand right now in the fourth quarter, this one pretty much out of reach. And, Charles, I know they're going to be disappointed about several things with this ball game, but the self-inflicted wounds, they've had several turnovers. You would have to think that's going to be something they're going to discuss heavily in the film session in the coming days.
You're absolutely right about that, partner, because they're going to have to sit in that film room and watch every error that they made and figure out how to not do it in the future. And mentally, I think a lot of the guys are.
So it's a win here for the NFC. Just an incredible afternoon of football and remembering the life of John Madden. And before we go, one final message. And for all of us at EA Sports, this one's for you, Coach.
I just say this, I thank you all very much. This has been the sweetest ride of them all.
time to decide how you're going to make your Madden NFL 23 debut. You could put yourself back on the game's biggest stage and raise that Lombardi in Super Bowl 56. Become coach once again and captain a team of legends and stars to victory in the John Madden Legacy game. Feeling a little rusty on them sticks? Hit the practice field to get some work in before you start a game. Head on over to the main menu and see the full array of options you've got to work with at Madden NFL 23. Feeling a little, become coach, head back to the brightest lights of them all and take the field and become coach. Feeling a little, head on over to the main menu and see the full array of options you've got to work with at Madden NFL 23.
And take the tails when you're flipping the quarter. We ain't slowing down, we crashing through the border.